at the theaters, about to see Wonder Woman. Or it's pretty good. So I'm gonna. Here we go. I'm gonna waiting for the trailers. Yep, it's good. Really good. I liked it a lot. All right. So yeah, I don't know if the audio quality was good on that last take, but it was an amazing movie. Unfortunately, I fell asleep in the beginning. I tried to prevent that. I was dead tired. Luckily, I had an annoying patron behind me kicking my seat that woke me up again. So, ironically, that was a good thing. But after that, it was pretty annoying. My God, do you really? Why are you tapping the back of my seat? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's why I purposely sat in front of anybody, so of everybody, so I could put my feet up because nobody likes the front seats. Ironically, I'm the only one who does. I love the front seats. The only unfortunate thing, you kind of have to look up, but like if you position yourself right, all you see is glory. You know, if you just and then you just fucking it's like the best big screen in the world. You know, because you're exactly close. That's just me. I know a lot of people like to sit far away. Personally, it's like it defeats the purpose for me. You're just making the screen smaller. To each his own. But so I sat in the second to front. Nobody was in the front row. I sat in the second. I could rest my feet if I wanted to. I was still pretty goddamn considerate. I didn't really rest my feet until the end, just in case somebody, behind me was like, "Oh, that's rude." But people were. Somebody brought their baby. Who brings their baby and their children? Like, I understand children kind of, but this was not a. I mean, it was okay. Like, children can watch this movie, obviously, but like, holy shit, it's your baby? Fuck, I don't get that at all. Please leave your fucking baby at fucking home. Jesus Christ. And it wasn't that bad, but it's like, you're in a fucking movie theater. It gets fucking loud. And it's an action movie. Of course the baby's gonna fucking cry. Like, dumb. Dumb. Like, leave your baby with somebody. I don't want to hear your fucking baby while I'm watching a movie. Now, to the feminists, they might like this movie, but to be fair, there's a lot of fucking crotch shots. A lot of crotch shots. I didn't mind it, obviously. It fucking looked great. Not only that, though, the visuals, like the action, when it wasn't all fucking crotch shot, man, did it have some awesome looking camera angles and the way she was standing. I knew that was going to be the case. Like, from the trailer, it had some amazing visual angles, and it did it did. I mean, I had even more than the trailer. I was so stunned with how beautiful the camera angles were on the position of her, and like her power stances were so incredible looking. Um, I'm one of those persons. I don't care if it's a girl or boy. I'm gonna connect with the character because I'm that character. I'm watching that character for the moment. I'm them. That's just me. But holy shit, yeah, the feminists. If you were like, oh, it's the best woman movie ever, well, just be aware that it did have a lot of things that feminists should hate. So don't be a hypocrite. At least point out that it had crotch. I didn't mind it. I thought it was fucking hot, but like she was wow, and it wasn't even her body. Like her hair. Her hair was so beautiful. Like it was so perfect the way they made her look. Uh, Man, it was a good movie. It got like a 7.8 out of 10. Man, it really deserved like to me a 9.8 because it did some things that most movies don't do, and that really satisfied me. It almost didn't. It had this scene where they have this important thing, just like in the fucking Fantastic Beasts movie. Well, they tried to show it to the higher up people, and they didn't want any part of it. You were interrupting their feud, and they were in a discussion about something that wasn't going to lead anywhere, obviously. And they got this important piece of artifact that's going to change the war, but they almost dismissed it. Luckily, one person, I'm not going to spoil it, but I totally saw it coming. Not right away, but at one point, I'm like, oh, I know who he is. But, yeah. But it was still amazing. Even then, the twist was still good. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, oh yeah, I was right. I wasn't for sure, but it was. I saw it a little bit coming, but even still, it was still great. I mean, the ultimate bad guy wasn't like incredibly good, but like the whole theme of the movie was so good. I love her innocence. I love um, her ultimate power that she doesn't yet know that she has. Yet her innocence is like almost her power, like because her innocence is so true to the human character and like what everybody really wants to be, and like the ugly face of the world is what we see in that movie. And like she just, I loved this one scene where she just stood up like, you are all fucking, no, she didn't say that, but she basically said, you should be ashamed of yourselves, you fucking call yourself a general, you're a pussy basically. And I was just, thank you, like, oh my god, did I need that in a movie. Like, not very many movies where the person just stands up to, and I hate that about movies where like it's like your own side is against you. It's not even the bad guy. You're fighting against your own people to get something to happen. And that's what it had happened in this movie. But they had a brilliant way of just going around it and then also just shoving it in their faces. Like, I don't even give a shit that you're gonna stand in my way. I don't give a fuck about you. uh, I know what I'm doing is right. I don't give a fuck what you think. I know that you're just fucking standing there with your fucking dick in your hand, basically. And it was so satisfying to see her do that, and she did a great job, I thought. I don't know, like, just incredible. Visuals, action. I kind of missed the origin, but it wasn't. I didn't miss the origin. I missed how the guy character got introduced. But then in the end scene in the credits, I saw they kind of did like a visual of what happened. I'm like, oh, okay, so I didn't really miss anything. But man, it was just, after that I was up the whole time. But it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. I was gonna buy it. I'm glad I went and saw it before I even, because I was like, I probably should see this on the big screen. It's probably, I heard it was good, and yet it didn't get like incredible reviews, but I had a feeling that I would think it was, and it was. It was definitely an almost 10 out of 10 to me. Like, actually, I don't even have a problem saying it was a 10 out of 10, because I don't know a scene I don't like. Again, maybe the bad guy was just a little bit like, but it wasn't even he wasn't like, it just wasn't like as impactful. What was so impactful was the theme of what he represented, and that was done so well, I thought. And it just goes, I mean, Jesus, like, it wasn't as good as Batman versus, no, Batman versus Superman wasn't as good as this, and Man of Steel wasn't as good as this, but I still really liked Man of Steel, and I like Batman vs Superman a lot more after I've watched, the psychology of it, everything about it, breakdowns, and it really is a good movie. It's just so smart, and it didn't really nail it. It didn't nail that. It was kind of hard to see the theme. This one, they really almost too bluntly, they almost too bluntly made the theme. But I guess that's pretty important, because otherwise people are just gonna miss it, just like in Batman and Superman. So like this one, they really made sure that their theme showed, and it did. It showed well, and it was an incredible story, I thought. Yeah, it's almost too bad that you're just not gonna get another one like that, because she's grown now. She learned who she is. It was, to me, it was like Casino Royale, where it just didn't get any better. After that movie. Casino Royale was like his movie where James Bond is discovering himself. I should do a review on that one for sure. It's like one of my favorite movies. Um, but that was kind of like the equivalent to me, is that she's discovering who she is. She's like super all powerful, but yet they played it off so well, like with her innocence basically holding her back, but at the same time being her ultimate strength. I thought her innocence was what made her so not blind, if I can say that. She was not blind at all to what was happening. She knew exactly what she was seeing, and she called it out. She didn't fucking like, you know, beat around the bush. She fucking called it out. She's like, no, we gotta help these fucking people. I don't care what you think, how you think that we should handle this war. I know what I'm doing is right. And she just fucking stuck with her guns. And that's what. This is a movie. That's what made it so great. But this is a movie that. This is, to me, this is what superhero movies should be about. Like, they fucking nailed it. So that's my 2 cents on it. Just the way that she had so much confidence in knowing, like, that's just what some things that, like, that's one thing that most movies just are lacking, is they have no fucking confidence to just do what the real character would do. Like, you know, like in Batman vs Superman, like, things that the characters would have done, they just never do. Kind of like, they kind of beat around the bush and try and make it, you know more real or something, but it's like, no, this isn't what the character would do. He, like, one example I can think of is like when Clark Kent is following Batman. Why did and I didn't figure this out. Somebody pointed it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Because I'm not trying to read into it too hard. I'm trying to enjoy it. But they're like, why didn't he just X-ray vision him? He doesn't need to follow him at all. You just look, and that's so true. But in this, they didn't do that, I thought. Well, there was a couple things, but very well done, I thought, still. Like, still really well done. And then when she finally, like, gets her way, in a sense, she has another conflict. It was good, I thought. And, like, it was, yeah, definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. And I don't want to say of all time, but it was damn close. I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna rewatch it probably a couple times. It was actually that good, and it's not a lot of movies compel me to want to watch it again. This one and Spider-Man, I should do a review on that too. But Spider-Man, actually, I was like, I came into it not liking Holland. Didn't want him. I liked Andrew Garfield so much. I know a lot of people didn't like him. I didn't even notice a lot of the flaws in the movie. I was just enthralled with his performance as Spider-Man. Was so good to me. I was like, finally, I get like a Spider-Man that acts like Spider-Man. That was how I took it. But I didn't care that he wasn't like nerdy. I wanted to see a more confident character, and that's what that Spider-Man was to me. He wasn't. I just didn't care about the nerdy guy. Like, it's just it's frustrating for me to see a nerdy guy because they have no confidence. It's like, I think even the most even the most nerdiest of nerds have more confidence than that. And so it's frustrating for me to watch that because I think I'm a nerd, and yet when I can't relate to something that I'm viewing as a nerd, it's like, even a nerd would be able to stand his ground better than that. So that's my 2 cents on it. Like, she had so much confidence that it compelled the story to me, and they didn't hold them back at all. They didn't hold back in the story. They didn't hold back on her character, her development. I almost want to say there was hardly any development until the end because she was so fixated on who she was, and that's what was so good. You had this strong idea of what she was, and she didn't let it go one for a second until the end when she like has her real conflict, and then you see that she goes and she finally realizes, I am right, in what I do. And just because what I didn't pan out the way I thought doesn't mean that I shouldn't hold on to my beliefs and be this person that I think is right. So it was that kind of movie where it just had this very strong identity theme in it. And anyways, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I loved the movie. I recommend the movie to anyone with an open mind that's not some idiot hater. If you're gonna be one of those persons that just needs to see a guy and to be the main character, then I guess this isn't the movie for you. But I don't need that. I just need, strong, compelling stories. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy. It just doesn't to me. It's all about the story and what happens and what I can learn from these people, and that's to me a good story. So, or a good movie is something that I can take away from the movie, and a lot of movies these days you can't do that. So they fucking nailed it. It's easily, to me, easily better than pretty much 90%, if not 100% of all the Marvel movies, because it was just so confident, confident in what they were doing. Man, it just fucking nailed it to me. There wasn't a scene I wasn't like, I fell asleep. I work graves, so like, I've been up since 1:30 in the morning, and I got there at 4. I did a birthday, and even had, you know, I tried drinking coffees, it just wasn't gonna keep me up. But as soon as I knew the action was starting, I'm like, oh shit, I can't, and my adrenaline started pumping. But that origin was just a little bit too slow. Obviously, it wasn't slow. It's just like at the moment I was too tired to be able to keep up, so I fell asleep for a moment. But that had nothing to do with the actual movie. It was just because I was dead tired. But yeah, again, I recommend it. Incredible. Just that's all I can say about it. I don't know. There was just that one scene where I'm telling you, where she just stood up in front of all the people that were like kind of just trying to, they thought they knew, those kind of people, and she's like, no, like this isn't how you win a war. That's not morally right. You're being an idiot. How is what you're doing gonna save anybody? And she wanted to save people. She didn't want to sit back in the crowd and debate and figure out the most peaceful way or whatever. She wanted to save people, so that's what she did. And anyway, I hope you like this review. I hope it helps make anybody decide on whether or not they want to see it. I definitely think it's worth seeing at least once, because to me it was just that good. Anyways, have a good night, and take it easy.